Okay, so we'll set the scene. This isn't actually a virtual listing presentation. We're actually sitting across the table from one another, and I've gone through the house. We've done a little tour because that's usually how we start our own listing presentations. Is we ask the seller to just tour us around their house. Reason being, it has allowed us to get a little bit more connection with the seller ahead of time. Ask them some questions, get to know them a little bit. So that's usually how we start our presentations, but we'd be happy to hear from all of you as to how you normally do it. But now we're sitting down at the table and we are going to discuss it all.
Can I get you a coffee? Did you want something to drink?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I've had enough coffee. So, all
fair.
Right. Well, Daniel, thank you for giving me a call and welcoming me. Oh my God.
This is brutal.
Let's start over again.
I'm gonna call somebody else.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for welcoming me into your home and for the tour. It's nice to meet you.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for coming during this tough time in the world where people don't visit people anymore. I'm happy you braved it and you came over. So thank you.
My pleasure. So tell me, how long have you been living in this house?
I've been here about 8 years.
Okay.
And I live here with my 5 children and our dog.
Wow.
And my wife's she's supposed to be coming back, but she's not a busy realtor. That would be weird. She's a very busy professional who's not in the real estate field, but hopefully she joins us by the end, but I promise to take notes and tell her everything you're telling me.
Okay. Got it. That's great. So when you first moved into this house, or what drew you to this house when you first saw it?
Well, when we moved here, we had, at the time, we had 2 young kids who were approaching school age. We definitely wanted to move to a neighborhood where we could be in a good school zone, where they could grow up and we could be near other families, just in a neighborhood where we could grow our family. And we've done that. We've done that over the 8 years, but we're getting to be a bit of a full house here, and the square footage we thought would work might not be working anymore for us.
Okay. So you're looking for potentially a new home that's larger to move into then?
That would be the goal. Yeah. But I mean, if I believe what I hear, this is going to be a bit of a tough go if I want to upsize where I'm at. But yeah, that is our goal. So I need you to bring me humongous dollars for this place. I've heard you're good, but I guess I'll find out.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. So what are some of the I know we toured around the house, but what are some of the favorite aspects of the house that you really like? Or your family really likes, I guess?
Well, we did, I showed you the backyard. That was recently redone, and that is a nice gathering spot right now, where we're able to literally get air from each other. But it's a good place where we can host people out there. It's been redone. We have done a bit of reno in the house, so we've recently repainted. In terms of things that are a feature of this house, it's on a premium lot. So we've tried to make use of that because it's a little bit deeper than the other ones in the area. And the finished basement is something that...
yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you. It was our pride and joy putting that together. Yeah, I mean, we've really tried to take care of just keeping it in good, I guess, good repair, or whatever you'd call it. We're trying to keep it so that there's no major issues with it. It is relatively new, but I mean, if you work this area, the bums who live around here, they just don't take care of their houses. It's terrible. So that's why clearly mine is probably worth more than all of those other houses. Because did you see the lawn 3 doors down? Like, you should see the inside of that guy's house. I can't even imagine.
Oh, really?
He would sell for, like, I don't know, 800 grand less than me, probably. If anybody even came to buy his place. But whatever, we're not talking about him. We're not talking about him.
Well, we'll definitely get into pricing. I know that's something that's probably very important to you.
You better believe it.
Okay. And so just so I understand, have you sold a house before?
We have, yeah. We have sold a house before we came here. We owned our last house.
Okay.
It was a different time, different house. I mean, from what I read right now, it's just the Wild West out there. When we sold, it was actually, we did it privately. I'm not too I'm not
Okay.
too familiar with this whole real estate agent thing. I'm trying to keep an open mind here, but I'm on Reddit a lot, and the people on Reddit, I don't know. Don't worry, I'll let you say your piece here, but I don't know. There's a lot of people out there saying I should probably do it myself again, so that's still a consideration.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely an option that you could consider. Now, in terms of selling privately, how was that experience for you the last time?
I mean, it's probably more work than we wanted to do. It was a little bit, it was a little bit concerning. I mean, we were younger and we got what we thought was a good price. Again, the peanut gallery told us we could have done better. So that is part of the reason why we're reaching out to real estate agents like yourself right now to see maybe what we were missing. I'm not a realtor by trade. I don't have any real estate agents in my family, which might make me the only person in Toronto who doesn't. But because of that, I'm able to talk to some people and find out maybe what we missed out on. It was a very simple process for us. We just we put it on Kijiji and we got a few emails. Most of them were from real estate agents, though, which is interesting. But yeah, we ended up getting it.
Yeah, you'll normally get that when you post your house privately or through Kijiji. You'll usually get a few responses from agents. So that's normal. So in terms of selling your house this time around, what is the most important for you and for your family?
Well, it's first and foremost, it's dollars and cents right now. We need to be able to get enough money to move up to another house. We do have some savings, so I'm not expecting to just trade up, because I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous to just get a better house for the same money. But I mean, I'm seeing what's happening around here. I appreciate you sent me those comps to look at, which just validated that I live in a crazy area where everybody wants to throw me all their money. So I'm hoping you'll set a new record here. That's what all the agents say, right? I set records and I'm above ask and all that. So that's what I'm expecting. And I just hope to have enough money in the bank to buy the next house. Maybe put some aside.
Yeah. Now, other than price, is there any other factors that are important to you?
Well, it's, you know what, with the orphanage worth of children who live here and the dog, it is a little bit stressful trying to think about the process and what might go into it. I know when we did it last time, it was a little bit easier. We had the two small kids, we could do things. My wife is very good at making things look good, so we were able to present it well. And I had a pretty good phone at the time, which took awesome pictures. But we just want to be able to do this whole process without really stressing about it, without inconveniencing us too much. So I guess speed is important. And just being hands off, getting somebody like yourself to hook us up with a good price. No headaches. No, that's completely, those are the common things that most people have concerns or just want to make sure are covered. So I'll definitely make sure I do that. And if you don't mind, I just have a bit of information I wanted to share with you and just kind of go through a few things. But by all means, if you have any questions as we go, we can interrupt the presentation at any point. So sounds good.
All right. So you can see this here, Mr. Stein.
Right. Well, we are sitting across the desk.
That's true.
Each other, so yeah,
just making sure our audience can see it as well. So obviously, I know I sent some of this over to you earlier this week, so I'm not going to go through all of it in detail. But by all means, if you do have any questions about certain aspects, that's what I'm here for.
It's weird that in that picture there's a guy at your brokerage that looks a lot like me. That's weird. Anyway, that's strange.
Yeah. So now we already walked through your house and it's absolutely beautiful. Definitely some aspects that we would want to highlight through the sale process. I know you had said the backyard was something that has been recently done. And I think that's such a great feature. Having the experience, I do work in this area with both buyers and sellers, I know that backyard and just having a great space for families to entertain and to just enjoy it is really, really important. So that's honestly something that would be very important to highlight through our marketing and our photos and all that kind of stuff. And just in terms of how well you've maintained it, it makes such a difference when you're presenting a home. When people are walking through it, you can definitely see the difference. And I agree, there are some homes in the area that aren't as well kept as yours, so that's going to be an advantage for you as well.
Oh, you're being generous. I know you have to say that, but come on, those places are dumps. They're dumps. They're dumps.
Okay,
it's okay.
Well,
hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
I won't press the issue, but they're dumps.
Yeah. Okay. And so just to reiterate, we had talked about what's important to you. And I know price and the process, just having a young family, are the most important. So I just wanted to make sure that was accurate and there's nothing further.
Yeah. I mean, I think, building on the dollars, like value for money, I'm wanting to know how all that works. Like the price is one thing, but I get that you don't work for free also. So I'm going to want to know what I'm getting and how much it's going to cost me. Also, it's another thing I see a lot on Reddit. So,
yeah, I know Reddit's a great source of information.
Sure is.
Yeah. So, I mean, similar to other sellers, these are the common things that are important to people. So you talked about selling for the highest price. The process of selling is important. Track record and the time it takes. And I think for yourself, with a young family, the time is something that would be important, just because you don't want your home sitting on the market for a very long time. And of course, the marketing plan. So we'll touch upon these things, but obviously the selling for the highest price and the cost portion, as well as the process, we'll really get into, because that's what's most important. So in terms of the price part, just wanted to draw your attention to what we typically see in the industry and how important it is to come out of the gate with the right price. I know a lot of sellers like to test out the market sometimes and put their home up for a higher price just to see what the reaction is. And to be honest, personally, what I've seen and what most people have seen and what's been proven is that can be really at the detriment to the seller, and they end up selling their house for a lower price. And it actually takes it obviously takes much longer to sell a home at that point. So it's really about ensuring that we're pricing accurately when we first get into the market. And as you've probably seen, you had mentioned sold over asking. The strategy in this area tends to be price a little bit lower or significantly lower, depending on what agent you are. But I believe that pricing a little bit lower so that it's a competitive price, giving attention to the property, bringing as many buyers through the property as possible, and setting an offer date is the best strategy for your home. And obviously we'll get into the actual numbers in a little bit, but
what were these, like that one across the street that just sold for like 2.4? Mm-hmm. That one, what was that one priced at?
So that one was priced at 2.1 million, and then it got that 2.4, and that's
So is that a little bit, when you're saying pricing a little bit lower, or?
I think that's a little too low. I generally like to price closer to value, simply because we don't want unqualified buyers walking through your home. You've got a family. You don't want to be interrupted constantly with showings from people that might not necessarily be able to afford what your home is truly worth. And so I would rather not. I don't know if you noticed, but I've definitely been showing a couple houses in the area recently, and the activity in that home, it was crazy. There were so many people walking through that house, and it concerns me from a safety point of view, especially with COVID. So my recommendation would be to price closer to value. We'd still get a lot of attention, but it would be the attention of the right buyers that can actually afford to make an offer on your home that you'd consider.
Okay, so I get what you're saying. I mean, as you know, I've been interviewing a lot of agents, right? Like, I mean, look, all these agents, they've already come over.
Wow.
They've already been here and they've already pitched me. And a lot of them say, you're talking about these unqualified or all that, but they say, get as many people in your house as possible, because you want them all fighting So you're saying not as many people as possible necessarily? Am I hearing that right?
Not as many people that aren't qualified to buy your house. That's correct. It's a waste of your time, and I don't want to inconvenience your family with people that aren't going to be able to come up to the price that we expect for your house.
But don't price it at the price or past the price that I expect.
No, I mean, the strategy is, and it's something that works well in this market, and the pricing strategy can be significantly lower or closer to what it's actually valued at. My approach typically is closer to that value point, simply because when you're pricing significantly lower, you're playing games, you're just trying to, it's just irresponsible in my opinion. So it's worked well with the past few listings that I've had in this neighborhood. And I think that it's a strategy that would be worth implementing.
Okay, you might be right. I just heard a really good podcast that came out this morning about that underpricing thing. I think it's called Level Up. So yeah, I don't know if you've heard it, but
yeah, it was a great podcast.
It was a pretty cool interview with some folks in Australia that talked all about it. So I tend to agree with you, but I want to, we're talking about my money here, right? Like we're talking about, this isn't like $50. Like, look at these veins. Look how much they're popping out of my head. That's how stressed I am when I talk about the price of my house. So
yeah, well, and recently what I've noticed is the number of offers sometimes it does reflect a higher offer price at the end of the day, but I find buyers are being a lot more conscious of what offer they're making. And if they those people that can't go beyond their means, it's just a waste of time to review their offer. And the ones that are willing to go up to the price that your home deserves are willing to come in with a very strong offer, regardless of the number of offers. The one I sold down the street a few weeks ago had 2 offers, and that might not seem like a lot, but we ended up selling for a record selling price. So
I like that. I like records. You're good. If you get this listing, you're setting a record, right?
I will certainly try my best.
All right. I mean, I won't, I want to hear a guarantee, but I won't force you to guarantee it to me, but I want to see a record here. I got a lot of people at the curling club, you know?
Oh, the curling club.
The curling club where I go.
It's a great spot. Yeah.
Yeah. And they've been telling me that if you don't set a record in this market, then you're doing it wrong. So,
okay.
I mean, I'm not saying I agree with them.
They know what they're talking about.
Well, okay. All right.
Okay. So did you have any other questions about the pricing part? We'll go into more detail on the actual numbers, but in a little bit, but I just wanted to double check that approach makes sense to you.
Yeah, no, I get the approach. I think I agree with you. You seem a little bit more honest about things than, these people.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
So far.
So another important factor that you had mentioned is the process. And obviously I know you've sold a home before, but you've done it privately. So I'll just touch upon how it works when you are working with a realtor. So at this point, you're at the top of the line where you are in the process of choosing a realtor. So just so I understand, is your wife going to be involved in that decision-making process?
She will be, yeah. So now she, as you know, I've got the camera on the tripod set up over here. So we're going to watch this tape afterwards. Okay. So don't feel like, I'm not taking notes. I'm not going to mix words here. I'll make sure she watches this word for word.
Okay. But, and you've done that with the other agents you've interviewed?
We've been videotaping everybody who comes in this house. It's what we do after hours is we watch realtor videos until the wee hours of the morning.
Oh,
but lucky for you, we've watched most of them, and you're hopefully, we might have one more after you, but it's getting a little bit exhausting. It's it's not the kind of binge watching I want to do.
Okay. Really. Okay. So once you do choose the realtor, and hopefully that is me, we'll sign the paperwork. And in the package that I sent you, there was all the listing paperwork. And that's something we will go through in detail once you are ready to move forward. And then we prepare the home for sale. And this is a part that I strive to ensure that my clients stay as hands-off as possible through the process, because this is the part where I want to make it as easy as possible for you, understanding that you have young kids. So we work around your schedule. So Professional photography is definitely something that is extremely important, especially in this market. Maybe a few years ago, as you said, the iPhone photos were something that could pass as good pictures. But at this point, buyers are expecting a home to be presented beautifully and the presentation to be excellent. And in order to do that, we need to bring in a professional. So we've got great photographers that we work with that
can I interrupt you for a second?
Absolutely. Yes.
So if we go back to preparing the home for sale,
yeah.
Like when you walk around here, do you have an idea of what we need to do here? Like when we went through the kitchen, for example, I mentioned that the cabinets are, that kind of ugly brown, and everyone's got these white cabinets now. Like, is that the sort of thing that I should be doing? Are you going to give me new cabinets? Is that part of your prepare the home for sale, or should I leave it?
Sorry, I did skip over that part. I should have gone into more detail on that. So yes, I have a stager I work with. And so from a staging perspective, your home will be fully staged. And I do want to point out the difference between different services that realtors offer when it comes to staging. Some will provide a consultation, and that's simply a stager coming through your home and providing you with different ideas on how to rearrange things in a better position, I guess, to make it look better. But I do bring in a stager and pay for the entire staging job. And that might entail bringing in new furniture, artwork, and that stager will work alongside us to move things around, maybe take some pieces out that might need to be taken out. But that's something that I am involved with and will ensure that it's taken care of for you versus having to put that burden on you. When it comes to painting cabinets, for example, I'd still like to get the consultation of the stager to give an insight into the entire home and what is a priority, because we don't want to be renovating your entire house. That's not something that you need to do.
If you'll pay for it, then you can renovate my entire house.
Yeah, but we also have to keep in mind the timeline and just interrupting your family. Any sort of extra work, we don't want to put a burden on you and your family through that process. I have worked with a stager who has recommended painting cabinets in the past, and we do have a few painters we can recommend that could come in and provide quotes on that aspect. So it might be something to consider, but definitely it's a strategy. It's an overall strategy that we'll put together for you that will get you the most for your home. I don't want you to spend money on stuff that won't end up getting you more for the house.
Okay. You know what? I didn't know with other people, a lot of people have said they provide staging services, but I think you're right. I think they said it's just like this guy came.
A consult.
This guy, one of those agents, and he was like, we'll look around and we can move furniture around, because he told me how nice all my furniture is.
Right. Yeah.
So he said we could work with it, which we could, but you're saying that an actual professional will tell me.
Yeah. And I can give you an example. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. This is an example of a staging job that we did where, obviously the house had to be significantly decluttered and we needed to bring in some more modern pieces. So we took care of that for our client. So that's an example of this type of work that we do.
Big difference.
Yeah. Going back to the professional photography. And if you notice, all of these pictures that are in this presentation are of past listings that I've done. So it just gives you an example of the type of work that we do. So photography is extremely important. And obviously we bring in the best. The other aspects of the process before we put the home on the market is videography. And I know I sent you a couple of links to some of the YouTube videos that we've done on our listing videos. And it's very dependent on the type of market that we're going for. For example, this one here on Portland Street was obviously targeted towards a young professional working downtown kind of demographic. Whereas this Magwood one of this cute little girl of my daughter is one that might be more suited for your type of home, where we're trying to attract young families that want to move into this area. So video is really important. And as much as we can try to create a story around your home and bring the right people in, it really, really works well. So that would be
Sounds
another
good.
okay.
I like that. Like those. Send me more.
Videos.
Yeah.
Send you more videos. Yeah, I can. Well, I'll send you our YouTube channel, which shows all the videos as well that we've done in the past.
All right. Well, I mean, as we know, I've still got a few more videos I need to watch tonight, but once I get over that creepy stuff,
Yeah.
but stop being a creepster with my wife.
All right. And then once we do have the photos in before we go to market, we'll make sure that we do have custom signage, and it's a unique part of our brokerage. It's very different from a lot of the other agents, and something that's a choice that we give to sellers, because sometimes sellers don't want the custom signage. But basically, it is an entire sign dedicated to your house. And it's all the information that a buyer would need to know: number of bedrooms, the size of the home, the features like a newly updated backyard, professionally finished basement, those kinds of things. We would make sure to highlight on the sign. We can also put pictures on the sign as well. So that really stops people in their tracks when they're driving down the street and just wanting to get more information about the house. We don't want to promote ourselves. It's not about us. It's about your home and trying to get as many eyeballs to that. So that is an option that we do offer, and it's included in our services.
Now, this sounds like it's all good stuff, but it sounds like all of these things are going to add a lot of time to the process.
No,
like it's not.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, that's good. No. So let me know what.
Yeah.
How does that impact the timing for me? Or are you talking about something else first?
No, I can definitely touch upon that. So over here is an example of a listing plan that we typically implement for our listings. So this gives you a sense of the length of time it would take to do all of the stuff that I'm talking about, because I definitely understand there's a lot of stuff that goes in, but keep in mind that a lot of this stuff is behind the scenes stuff that that I am working on.
You yourself and you.
But yeah, you're not involved. Your family's not interrupted with a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So, for example, it's basically a week. I do also like to bring in a cleaner to come in. And if you're okay with that, I would bring in a cleaner, because again, with kids, I totally understand. It's really hard to keep, first of all, clean your home as well as keep it clean. Your house is very clean as it is, but we definitely want to offer that service to you, again, to make it as easy as possible through the process.
Does that cleaner name say So Fresh, So Clean?
It does. That's one of the cleaners we work with. Yeah.
The Outcast cleaner. That's awesome.
Yeah. But again, it goes through, we do staging and photography and video if it works for your schedule all in one day. So we're not spreading it out over several days where you're going to have to be out of the house for a few hours at a time. If we can dedicate a day to doing as much as possible, so that it's just the one day, we will definitely do that. And again, we're working around your schedule. This is just an example. We can make whatever works for you guys work for us. So basically everything is done within a week, and then we're ready to list the home the following week and start showing. So that just gives you an idea. And then the professional marketing materials is something that we also include. So again, I'm not going to go through all of this in detail because it's stuff that you've already seen, and I want to make sure we're talking about the stuff that's most important to you. So preparing the marketing materials, we talked about listing your home for sale, the buyer showings, and if you're comfortable with it, we do open houses as well for the public. I'm not sure how you feel about that.
Are those? I mean, that's another thing I read a lot about. People are saying they're useful. I mean, I don't know if you saw Joe, who's always in his like tank top in front of the house, even in November, and he's always watering plants like he's got something to water out there, but really he's just creeping on everybody else. He'll be in here. Like, you could do an open house, but I don't want Joe coming over. Like, if Joe comes to the door, like, put up like a no Joe's allowed sign or something. Cause like there's so many creepy people around here. Like, not us. We don't do anything creepy. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
no, of course not.
We're we're
Not those video
standing.
cameras or anything
No,
like that.
like
No,
what are you implying? What are you saying? That's creepy? I'm trying to do my
no,
research.
no, not at all.
Okay.
Not
But
at
I
all.
mean, our neighborhood is just, it's a lot of people who want to be, in the know, and I don't need those people coming to my house. Right. But
Good point.
I want a lot of people who are going to buy it to come. So would you say, like, I don't mind taking the kids and going on a drive or whatever. They could watch me curl for 2 hours,
It's true.
get some Timmies,
Yeah. Yeah. So my experience is that your neighbors are a great resource. I mean, some of them might be a little creepy, but they may know people. They know the neighborhood. They're the best to talk about how great this neighborhood is. And what I will typically do, if you're comfortable with it, is I will send out a private invitation to everybody in the neighborhood to come see the home an hour before the open house starts, the public open house starts.
Whoa. So now you're inviting Joe? I don't want Joe. So you think we should invite Joe over?
Yeah.
Okay.
You never know. Joe might have an aunt that would love to live in the neighborhood.
He might have an aunt. I see all sorts of weird people going in there all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm watching him, because I'm not creepy.
And you know what? If Joe comes in before the public open house, then that takes out that concern that he'll be coming in when other buyers are coming through and might be acting creepy. So I think we could take care of Joe that way.
All right. As long as you get him out before the real buyers show up.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make sure.
He bugs me. He's jealous. He's just jealous. That's what it is.
So back to the process. As I said before, we like to keep the property on the market for about 5 to 6 days. And then after the open house, the following week, usually on the Monday or Tuesday, we'll set the time to review offers. And that'll be when all the serious buyers come in. We'll make sure that we are very clear on the terms that you'd like. So if you have a set closing date in mind, anything that is preferable for you, we'll make sure to communicate that to anybody that's interested, and we'll review offers. And at that point, we'll be looking at some really good offers and very likely breaking a record.
Well, yeah. So, okay. So with the offers and with all the terms for me, like I mentioned, we need to buy a place, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know what to believe, whether I should sell first, whether I should buy first. We haven't even started looking. I don't know if you deal with buyers. I don't know if that's your thing.
I do.
Well, that's good. Okay. But I don't know. It's easy to sell, right? Everybody's selling. Everybody everywhere is selling. Everybody thinks it's easy. I think it's easy. We're going to get a ton of money, but that probably means it's harder to buy, right? All the nightmares I hear are about buying.
Mm-hmm.
So what should I do if I want to sell this place? And, we're going to get offers, we're going to get a record, but I don't want to be setting a record for somebody else too.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I mean.
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. I'd say given the market right now and the lack of inventory, I think we should focus on buying first, because that is the challenge that you're going to face, is trying to find a home that suits your family. And then we can look to the sale process.
Okay, so we should look at buying first. Okay.
Yeah. But
okay.
Yeah.
We'll set up another meeting for that. It's a different room. I need different lighting for that video.
Yeah. And I mean, there's pros and cons to both. If you buy first, you might not necessarily know you're not going to know what you're going to eventually sell your home for. Obviously, we have an idea given the comparables in the neighborhood, but it's sometimes it's too risky for certain people. They'd rather sell their home. We could always negotiate a longer closing date, and that will give you some time to find the right home for you. But as I said, in this market, selling isn't the issue. It's trying to find a home that suits your family's needs. If you did have a place that you could go to in between, if it came to that, then that could be also an option to consider.
I got a few places I could go. A couple buddies will put us up.
Okay. Well, maybe we sell first and communicate a longer closing, and then we can work on buying at the same time. Okay.
So if I'm buying with you,
mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I'm going to say, right? Let's address the elephant in the room here. You guys make a ton of money. Like I've already told you, I don't need Reddit to tell me how much money you guys make. When I did this myself, I didn't spend a dime in commission. Mm-hmm. You're showing me all kinds of good things here. I appreciate it.
Yep.
I appreciate it. It's better.
Yeah.
It's better than most of these guys. Better than maybe
Yeah.
all of these guys, but almost all of these guys, and especially this loser, especially that guy, they all told me that they'd give me a big discount. They said that they're going to cut their commission for me. I don't even know what the regular commission is because
Okay.
and some of them didn't even give me a number. They just kept telling me, oh, it's going to be a deal. It's going to be a deal. So I know you haven't told me what your cost is yet. And I like you. I mean, my wife is going to love you.
What's your understanding of how commission works?
That I get fleeced. That you sell my house, and then I write you a big check with all the money that you just set a record with. Then I set a record with the money I give you. Okay. So my understanding is that it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and you know, you're showing me where some of that money goes. Mm-hmm. But I'm a little uncomfortable thinking, like, I'm hearing 5%. Yeah, is a number that's out. Is that how much it is? Really, 5%?
Yeah. Well, basically, it's split between the buyer's agent and myself as the listing agent. So 2.5% goes to the buying agent, and 2.5% will go to me. And all of the costs that we talked about when it comes to staging, when it comes to minor improvements that a handyman could help out with. Professional photography, videography, everything that we do to ensure we maximize the sale price of your home is included in that commission.
Okay, so so you know what? I mean, I can understand your money because you're spending money here, but you're saying that just for somebody to show up at my door and bring somebody, I'm going to be giving them, what is that? That's like 50 grand. I'm going to be paying them just to have someone come to my house. Like, can I pay them less? Can I give you your half and they can have, like, I don't know, 5 grand? Give them 5 grand? That's fair.
Well, keep in mind that when an agent is working with a buyer, they could be working with them for, especially in this market, for 3, 6, 9 months. That's a significant cost. I mean, time investment.
Well, and they haven't seen my house yet. That's why they wasted 3, 6, 9 months. But okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a different way, and it's hard, I guess, when, you know, if you do work a 9-to-5 job where you're earning a salary, but for us as realtors, we don't get paid until our listing sells, or the homes that we're selling sell and close, or our buyers do make an offer on a purchase and it gets accepted and it closes. So it's a little bit different, but that's how it does work.
And did the house that sold for 2.4, were they paying that too? Were they paying 2.5% over there?
They were. Yes.
Okay. All right. They did well. They did okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I paid when I sold it privately, because the guy was a realtor to the Kijiji thing.
Oh, how much?
I bought him a 6-pack of beer.
Wow.
6-pack of beer.
Yeah, you're a good negotiator. That's a good deal for you.
Yeah, I heard there was some sort of a lawsuit afterwards between him and his guy, though. So I don't know. That wasn't my problem.
Okay, so in terms of a commission, do you have any other questions about that? How it works?
Can I get like a payment plan on it? Can I when do I pay it? When do I have to pay it to you to list this place?
No upfront costs on your behalf. It's when we sell the home and it closes, the funds that you get for the proceeds some of it goes to the commission. So
that comes out of the money that's already
the proceeds of the sale. Exactly. Yeah. So you're not having to shell out any additional money.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I can deal.
So you're okay with that?
I can make, we'll talk. We'll talk. I can't speak. We're going to review the tape later and we'll discuss. We'll see.
Okay.
So you're saying you're 5% is what you are.
Yes.
Even if I buy with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because buying's another service that we offer, and that comes with an additional fee.
Are you going to negotiate this hard with people who are trying to buy my house?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you've got agents coming through here that are giving you a deal, or we'll talk, or 1%, just imagine what they're going to be doing for you when they're selling your house. They'll be giving all the buyers deals.
Yeah, but I got all those guys over a barrel. Like if I called them right now and I said I'll do it for $100, they'd probably say, yeah, those guys are desperate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you want a desperate agent trying to sell your house? So imagine what they're going to try to sell it for.
It's a very good point you got there. It's a very good point.
Thank you.
Even, oh, look, like, do you see how much the veins blew up when we were talking about commission? My
I
God,
know.
I've aged 5 years during this conversation.
And so, okay, let's take it back. We've talked about commission.
Okay,
We've talked about the process.
we have.
Do you have any other questions about the process?
What about like with the offers? You said we're going to get more than one offer. And I know
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're guaranteeing it because we've talked about the pricing. I know you might get two and we'll set a record. But are they all going to be like, I hear about deals that fall apart, people who offer a lot of money but can't afford the money? It's like, how do I know just because it's a big number, it's a good offer when somebody
It's a
makes
very
it?
good question. Yeah, it's not all about the price. We also have to consider other factors like conditions, closing date, deposit amount. Typically, when buyers are competing for a property, they will try to make their offer as strong as possible. But again, it goes back to the communication to ensure they understand that we want a strong, high deposit, because that usually reflects how serious a buyer is, and the closing date that's preferable to you. As we talked about before, we want to try to work in a longer closing date to give you a chance to find a property that makes this suited for your family going forward. And then when it comes to conditions, I typically recommend, as part of the pre-list part of my services, that we do bring in an independent home inspector to do a pre-list home inspection. And not only will that ensure that everything is good with your home, but it will also negate the need for any buyer to come in with a home inspection condition. So that's a recommendation that I often make. And then in this market, you will have buyers that still want to put in a financing condition, but most buyers have been pre-approved and are comfortable a lot of times going in without a condition. It does depend. So I'm not saying you're not going to get any conditions, but again, when we do receive those offers with those conditions, we work with the other agent to try to negotiate those out of the deal or try to make it as favorable as possible for you.
Okay. So, and you said it'll be about 5 or 6 days and then the offers will come in. Is that how long it usually takes for people to make offers, or are we telling them when to make offers?
We're telling them when to make offers. So my suggestion, and going back to this listing calendar here, we would list the home, let's say on a Thursday, and then we could review offers the following Wednesday. So that would give us some time over the weekend to do open houses, bring as many people through that are qualified to buy the home as possible, and then review offers on the following week.
Okay.
Now, there is the opportunity for, if you wanted to consider early offers, or preemptive offers, as we like to call them. So if that's an option you want to consider, we can definitely do that. Sometimes there's a buyer that comes through the first couple of days, is really eager, really loves the home, and they might want to come in with a big number and just take out the competition right there. And so that's something we could consider as well if you want to.
Okay. Okay. But no one's going to know what other people are offering, right? Or can they?
No, that's right. No. The only information that the only information that buyers are able to know is the amount of offers that there are. That's the only information. Yeah. Unless you want to consider an auction, but we're not going to get into that right now because
that's not part of this presentation.
No.
Discussion for another day.
Exactly. Okay. And then any other questions on process, or are you good?
How do you stay in touch with us, and how do we know what's going on during that time? Like, am I going to be able to know when I'm leaving my house? Do I give you, oh, look at that. Okay.
Yeah. So as I said, in the pre-listing process, we will set up a lockbox that is on your door. So the key is in there, and any agent that wants to book a showing will do so through our office. We will call their office and confirm the showing if it works for your schedule, and they will get the code and be able to access the home that way. We do have an app called Broker Bay that, if you want to be involved through the showing process, you can approve or deny any showing requests that come in. It's a really simple app. Just put it on your phone. You'll get notified when a new showing request comes on, and you can either confirm it, maybe suggest another time if it doesn't work for you. And we'll also stay within your parameters. So if you have certain hours, maybe the kids need to go to bed at a certain time, we can cut off showings at a certain time during the evening just to make it more convenient for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So finally, let's talk about price. So I know that's obviously one of the most important things to you. We definitely strive to get you the best price possible, doing these various marketing efforts, putting all of this together and getting your home out to as many potential buyers as possible. I did send you the comparables beforehand. What were your thoughts on the ones that I sent you?
I mean, the one across the street for 2.4, that one I know. That's what I'm looking
Yeah.
at selling now because it's a big number. Those other ones, I mean, let's be real. A lot of them were junk. The ones that sold for less, they're junk compared to mine. So, I mean, I guess though, like maybe those are just the most recent ones around here, maybe. But
yeah,
I mean, like I'm pretty sure mine is like the creme de la creme. Is that what they say? That's what they say. My place is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, the most recent comparables are the most relevant to our discussion right now. So that one that did sell for 2.4 is definitely one of the ones into consideration, as well as the one that sold for 2.2. And I know you said that one was junk. I'm just curious, did you go through either of those houses when they were listed?
Well, I mean, they had open houses, and like I said, I'm not a creepy guy, but yeah, I went to the open houses because
yeah,
I was in the neighborhood. It was a nice
Why not?
day.
Yeah.
They said that
okay,
it was open, so I went.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, fair enough. So I don't know if you noticed, but the one that sold for 2.4, in terms of size, it was very similar to yours. I would say that they have done some more renovations to the kitchen and bathrooms, which are areas that buyers typically value more significantly and do pay a premium for as a result, especially these days with COVID and renovation costs and all that. So that's something to consider when selling your home, that one did have those aspects that were slightly better.
So I might not get 2.4 is what you're saying.
We will definitely push as high as we possibly can. But unfortunately, especially in this market, there's no guarantee, but we will definitely work towards getting you that number. It's difficult to say, but through the different marketing and advertising approaches that we're taking, we'll get you as much as we possibly can.
Okay. So even with my backyard.
Your backyard is beautiful. And that's why I think it's worth more than the $2.2 million house that sold last week. Because
their backyard's junk.
Yeah, they haven't done anything to their backyard. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But in terms of the interior features, I would say that yours is slightly better. You've done some more renovations to your house on the floors and the basement, whereas that one didn't have as much. So if I were to put a value on your home, I would say that yours lies, pretty much in the middle between those two that did sell.
But you're going to try to get more.
Absolutely.
Is now a bad time for me to say that under that rug in the living room, like it's a nice rug, right? But I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you. Maybe we could just keep it our little secret. But all the floorboards are missing from underneath it because we had termites. And
termites.
Yeah, okay. No, we took care of them. I got this like spray from like this infomercial, and we killed the termites. So there's no more termites. Okay. But do I need to replace those floorboards, or like can we just leave the rug there? Because like when the stager comes, we could leave the rug, right? And she doesn't even need to know.
Right. It would be a bit of a safety hazard for people walking through because they might not know to avoid that area. So the handyman I work with does great work, and we can have him come in and take a look and give us a quote. How does that sound?
So we got to fix it, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that it was like buyer beware is what people say, right? Buyer beware. No, I guess
if you're hiding it with a rug, you're kind of covering it up.
Well, I'm just making it look better with a rug. I wouldn't call it hiding. I'm just
okay. Yeah. I mean, in my experience, it's better to disclose some of this information ahead of time. So you don't want to run into problems on closing on those things. So, yeah.
All right. So that could
we'll work on that together. Yeah. But again, that's what I'm here for. I bring in the qualified people that can come in and fix these types of things.
This guy told me he'd bring a bigger rug and he would just cover it up and like we could like paste it down so it's still there.
You don't want to. Yeah. I
Right.
would not recommend that.
Yeah.
So
he sounds like an idiot.
So wrapping up, I definitely don't want to take any more of your time. I'm sure your video camera might be out of video memory.
Yeah,
so
it's getting there.
Yeah. So is there anything that we missed, or is there anything that other agents had talked about that you would like to see, or any other questions that you have for me?
I mean, I think maybe my wife will have some questions, but we're pretty much in tune. We share a brain. We say sometimes people say that we share a brain.
Right.
But I guess I'm a little bit. I got to think through this cost thing. I got to think through the valuation. It's a little refreshing to hear someone who seems like they're being honest with me. But sometimes I like to hear what I like to hear. You know what I mean? So
makes sense. Yeah, everybody does.
So what, I mean, I guess just to sum it up, like why would you say you're better than all these other people? Like, why is it that I should be giving the business to you,
right,
instead of all these people who promised me the world for less money?
Yeah. Well, as you said before, I'm very honest and upfront with people. I like to set expectations ahead of time. I do have over 8 years experience working in this immediate area. So I do know what is out there and how your home compares to all the others. So I can definitely fight as much as possible for the value of your home to any other agent that comes our way. And then also in terms of the types of offerings, like with the marketing and the services that I offer ahead of time, all of this will help to provide you with the best possible selling price for your home.
I like it. I like the cut of your jib.
Thank you. Like. So when will you be speaking with your wife?
She should be home. I feel like I heard her. I don't know if I think I heard her come in. I think we have this, actually, the camera's hooked up to a closed circuit TV in the bedroom. So she's probably just been up there watching us live this whole time, I think.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's there. She's heard it. So
are there any other agents that you'll be interviewing after me?
I've got one more. Yeah. I've got one more coming in.
And may I ask when?
It's tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Because I've got to upload this and clear some space on the camera. Usually I need a little bit of time between presentations. Okay. But yeah, we're going to be making the decision. We got some things to think about. We're going to be making the decision pretty soon. Should we be calling you? Is that what happens? Is this a don't call us, we'll call you?
Well, I was just going to say that. I was going to ask if I can follow up with you tomorrow evening, if that would work.
Yeah, you can follow up, I think.
Okay. So I'll give you a call around 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock works. Yeah. 6 o'clock works for me. You might hear some kids in the background, but
not a problem. I'm used to it. And if you could do me a favor, if for some reason you want to make a decision before I call you at 6, would you mind just giving me a call and letting me know if there's anything else that I can do to convince you to for me to help sell your home?
Yeah, we'll put our heads together, and if there's any questions, I'll be sure to ask you before 6 tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds good.
Did you want to come to the presentation with the other guy tomorrow? And you could sit in the room and watch it on closed circuit. He wouldn't
Sure, that would be great. That would be great.
I mean, maybe if you want.
I'm in. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the creepy family.
All right. All right. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate your time. Have a good day.
All right. Do you want a coffee now for the road?
No, I'm good.
Okay, cool.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh my God.
And
Steve.
All right. So as off as a lot of that might have sounded, I think, like we said at the beginning, that might have been a combination, maybe cameras aside, that was a bit of a creepy element. But the camera thing aside, you're going to run into all that and more at some point if you haven't already in your listing presentation career. Mm-hmm. I thought you did very well. I would give you my business.
Thank you.
I might still try to get you down to like 4 3/4 though. That's probably what the 6 o'clock call would be like. It would probably be like, we discussed it. Yeah. We love you, but can we do something with that commission?
Yeah. Well, and I did want to say that, like, it's important to come across as very confident with why you're worth what you're worth. And I truly believe that charging 5% in terms of what I do for my listings is completely reasonable. But with that said, I'm not saying that I don't negotiate down on my commission if it makes business sense. And so don't feel as though you're not winning if you don't get 5% for your listings. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, we're happy to entertain questions. If anybody has any comments, experiences you've had. Again, this was done in a bit of a different format from our other sessions. If we can take out some elements of the presentation, I think just to highlight some key points or things that maybe, did anything jump out at you as difficult or as a common thing that you want to point out?
I mean, I think when both decision makers aren't there, it can provide a challenge. So just seeking clarity on that, I guess, was really the only thing I could do at that point. And also, I guess, and I mean, I didn't know going into this, but a recommendation for people before going to a listing presentation is ensuring that all the decision makers will be present, because you don't want, like Daniel.
Yeah, we weren't going to shut down the presentation.
No. Yeah.
So don't worry. She was watching. She was watching. I would say the only element, which you did address later on, but the only thing that as a seller made me a little bit confused-ish was the buy before sell part.
Okay.
And you totally addressed it the right way, like when we brought it up. But I think the fact that this is a seller's market and you knew that it was a buy that I was going to be upsizing to afterwards, it's impossible for you to come right out and say, let's buy first. And it was a listing presentation. So I didn't expect you to do that. But I mean, the recommendation was right. And I think in the context, like what you said of maybe buying first makes more sense, because doing the harder thing first probably makes more sense. However, I mean, that's kind of, it's also arbitrary, and it's also, you played off, there's cues you could take on both sides that make either way the right answer in any situation. So I think it went totally fine. And so, yeah, I mean, as far as the rest of it goes.
I'd say that part threw me off
a
little bit.
And everything's going to throw everybody out. Like, that's the thing. Like, listing presentations are all about complete curveballs constantly.
Yeah, well, thinking back, I should have probably clarified a little bit more when you said, we're looking to buy another home, like probably delve more into that aspect of it just to kind of address it then versus talking about it later. Might have been a better way to do it.
One thing you did really well, which we talk about also in our role plays, is you weren't using words like obviously. A lot of people jump into saying, like, obviously this is the case, or as you probably know, which can work if you're talking to someone and you read them to be someone who's a bit of a know-it-all. But at the same time, you never want to make the person a crowd. You never want to make assumptions about people and their knowledge of our industry, especially if they've been pitched by 10 other people. If you're going to come across as the professional, you're educating the person across the table, regardless of how many other people have talked to them, because it's your opportunity to show that you do more and you provide more and understand more, which I think you did a good job of. Even explaining things like staging consults versus staging, or how the commission works and things like that. There's too many people, I think, who just jump through things as if they're bullet points that they need to get through without actually explaining. And it can leave, especially a first-time seller, which I was, in effect, right? Like, I mean, I did it myself, but like, that was a joke.
Well, and I also think that a presentation, it's good to have that backup, but relying on that as the way to communicate with your potential client is not the way to do it. You've got to find the pain points for that particular person, and it's going to be different depending on the person. So having the presentation ready to go is great, but you're not necessarily going to go through every single page of it because it's not important to them. You're still going to do it potentially, but it's not going to advance the listing presentation or make it any better.
Right. Like it's all about developing rapport. It's very hard to do that when you're both looking at a piece of paper instead of talking to each other and having actual conversations. So I think, like you did that. Like the first 5-10 minutes were us just talking to each other, which was good before the presentation. And you had sent me the presentation ahead of time anyway. So in some cases, you might not even refer to it, right? If someone's read through it. So that was good. And also you kept your cool, which it's hard to do when people, and it happens a lot, get opinionated or reference what they hear or talk about other people and their opinions of other people or other houses. You didn't make me feel like an idiot, right? But you also didn't really agree with me, right? Like even with letting Joe into the house, like you flipped me on Joe. Like I didn't want Joe coming over, but you were able to justify the reasoning behind doing this. And I could have said no. And if I said no, you would have respected my decision not to. But the ability to explain and understand both sides of every argument is really important because you're going to get both sides of every argument from listing presentation to listing presentation.
Exactly. Yeah.
So so this will be available right after this presentation, live for download. I don't see any questions in the Facebook room, which is good. Here's a question. What would be a recommendation on what to physically leave potential seller for review when making their decision versus risking giving away all your trade secrets? Good question. My opinion on this is I don't worry about that. I don't worry about the trade secret stuff because I want to leave behind things that they can learn from and they can have that'll remind them of me. And if the worst problem of that is that another agent sees it or they tell another agent, here's what another person is doing, I don't think that there's a monopoly on secrets in our industry. I think even the best ideas are meant to be shared anyway. Like things like you talked about the custom signs we do. We came up with it like it was God's gift to, and we did it. And we probably were one of the few who do it. But if someone else is doing it, I'm not going to say, oh, they stole our idea, right? I think there's value in being able to communicate what you do better than somebody else who might rip off your idea, right? People are going to take your idea if they want, but I think you show your value by having the idea, by sharing the idea and being able to back it up with the reason you do it. And that's the kind of thing that other people, more power to them. We've taken ideas. Like I think this industry is built on thievery, right? But it's professional thievery. It's good ideas are meant to be done by lots of people. So I don't mind leaving things behind.
But yeah. All right. Well, have a great day, everyone. Hope you enjoy the
cold weather.
2 hours of sun we have left.
All good.
Okay. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Level up.